policeman, I will not mention his name, and in fact, began his power tripping.
Sa isang pagdinig sa Senado ay isiniwalat ni Senador JINGGOY ESTRADA na may isang mataas na opisyal ng kapulisan na nagpa-power tripping habang nakakulong umano sila ni Senador Bong Revilla sa selda. Dagdag pa ng senador ay kung ano-anong pabor ang hinihingi ng naturang opisyal at wala umano silang magawa kundi ang magbigay. Nais ng senador na ngayon nanalo uli siya sa Senado ay hindi mabigyan ng promosyon ng naturang pulis at maparusahan din ito. Subalit, tila salungat naman ang mga netizens sa kagustuhan ng senador dahil ito daw mismo ay isang mandarambong kaya't ito'y nakulong ng ilang taon at dapat umano hindi na ito nahalal pa bilang senador ng ating bansa dahil sa nakulimbat nitong milyon-milyon.
To the chief PNP several weeks ago that there is a certain policeman who was assigned I don't know, as chief of for custodial when we were still incarcerated together with Senator Bong. And this police official has been visiting us without I never knew this policeman. He kept visiting us and asking for favors, and of course I together with Senator Bong gave in to all his favors, and when he was assigned to head the custodial center, he never showed up, and in fact, this scalawag, this policeman, I will not mention his name. I think the chief PNP, yes, this police officer never showed up, and in fact began his power tripping. He never allowed our lawyers to enter our inside the premises of the jail. And you know, and you and I know that lawyers are allowed to visit are allowed to visit us 24 hours, even our immediate families, even yung mga priests, whatever. But this police officer never allowed our lawyers to enter our premises. So what can you say,
Parang
Mr. Chair?
initially, without even conferring with the Chief PNP, Your Honor, that seems to be a violation of your human rights, Your Honor. But I was told, Your Honor, that policeman, if we're talking about the same one, is already stationed in the barm, Your Honor, sa Cotabato City Hall.
I hope he will not be given that opportunity to be promoted if ever that time comes.
Well, certainly we share with you the sentiment. If there is any deprivation of your rights or anyone's rights for that matter, that should be reflected in the record of the officer, Your Honor.
Yun lang po ang pakikiusap ko sa inyo, Mr. Chief PNP. And anyway, going back to the rice subsidy allowance, no? If we are going to increase the rice subsidy allowance to 1,000 pesos per month, PNP will be needing additional more or less 80 million pesos. No? Tama po ba ako, Mr. Chair?
Thereabouts, Your Honor. Thereabouts.
Hindi ba natin kaya ibigay?
Pagka kayo po ang nag-request, syempre,
Well, pwede natin
mapipilitan
ibigay.
ho tayo hanap ng pondo,
At
Your
the
Honor.
proper time, maybe in the period of amendments, we will just increase the rice subsidy allowance of all the members of the police force. Because
Yes, Your Honor.
that is what my father, when he was president, did to the soldiers, the members of the military. Meron silang isang kabaw na bigas monthly. That's why I want to expand it na masama rin yung ating mga kapulisan.
That is well taken, Your Honor. The committee will work with you to find ways and means, Your Honor.
So with that, I do not have any other questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Your Honor, to Senator Jinggoy and for his concern for our men in uniform. And again, may commitment po si Chief PNP sa kanya regarding the matter he brought up. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Jinggoy. Probably with this indulgence, probably can include also the men and women, men in uniform of the BJMP and the Bureau of Fire as well, with the PNP personnel. Next to
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr.
Next to
President.
interpellate is our Minority Leader, Senator Coco Pimentel.
Yes, we welcome our any queries or concerns from our distinguished minority leader, Mr. President.
Sana yun, dapat yun. Ha? Ganun tayo. Kasi nga, bigyan mo pas, tapos tamarize ang bibili. Thank you, Mr. President. With the permission now of our very hardworking chairman, who is the source of all of our information about the budget. Lahat po ng mga plano natin, mga desires natin sa budget, parang bola ng basketball, pinapasa lang natin kay chairman. Chairman, bahala ka na dyan. Assist na yan.
Magaganda naman ho yung pasa, kaya
Opo.
malaki yung tsansa na ma-shoot ho natin
Opo.
ng ating Kamara, Your Honor, especially with the brilliant ideas from you, and you keep the majority on our toes, certainly, Your Honor. Siguro kami na yung may kasalanan kapag hindi namin napaganda ito.
Salamat po. And if I may start now, the DILG and the attached agencies, or the DILG family, receives one of the largest chunks in our annual budget, Mr. Chairman. Kaya medyo siguro naman we have to do justice to their budget and justice to our people by scrutinizing such a large sum. Pero ang nagpalaki talaga ng budget ng Department of the Interior and Local Government ay yung ating sa budget sa PNP. Tama. Alam
Yes,
po
Your
yung
Honor.
Philippine National Police. Apo. And then even yung committee report po natin na nagdagdag ng 1.08 billion para sa DILG, ang kalakihan ng dagdag doon ay 1 billion para sa PNP. So pwede na lang po nating malaman ano po ang para saan po ang dinagdag ng ating subcommittee sa PNP na 1 billion.
Your Honor, we added 5 million to the Office of the Secretary, 15 million to the Local Government Academy, 15 million to the National Commission on Muslim Filipinos, 30 million to the National Youth Commission, 21.29 million to the Philippine Commission on Women, and 1 billion for the new National Headquarters or NHQ building of the PNP, Your Honor.
So building din po ito.
Apo.
That is not the final cost of the new national headquarters. 1B is not going to be the final cost.
Anong estimate natin? Magkano pang kulang? Pagka nabigay yung one. It's just the initial funding, Your Honor. They're looking at around 9 billion.
9B.
Opo.
Sige, para lang po malaman natin sa multi-year obligation
Thanks.
and this 1 billion coming next year is the first
Yes, Your Honor.
funding of the said multi-year obligation, which is a construction of a new national headquarters that would be in Camp Crame. Yun po.
Opo, yes, Your Honor.
But what's wrong with the old one or the existing one?
Anong year ba yun kinonstruct?
The older
Tanungin ko na itong Spanish case.
I was told the current building is during the time of the PCI and PIPAHO. So
Oh,
that's
Ram.
60s and 70s
Yes.
vintage, Your Honor.
But to the credit of the builder of that building, medyo ano pa siya, di ba? Good for use pa yung building.
It's still a baby compared to the office of the COMELEC, Your Honor, which is the Palacio de Gobernador. But yes, you're right. You're correct, Your Honor. Well, it has lasted this long, Your Honor.
Yes, okay. Sige po, can I raise this issue, Mr. Chairman? I think gusto mo rin ito because you were confronted with this when you went to Belgium before the European Parliament to negotiate on behalf of the Philippines. Si Chairman na ang aming head of delegation to negotiate on behalf of the Philippines for the extension or possible extension of the GSP Plus accommodation with accommodation given by the European Parliament to the Philippines. Ang isa sa raise po doon is ng member of the European Parliament is this case of the Spanish national Diego Bello Lafuente. Does this ring a bell to the Secretary or to the Chief PNP? Talaga. Ano issue dito? Hindi nahuli, no?
Isa lang sa yung team leader sa mo.
Pero how many ang kinasuhan ng nakon? Tatlo yata o dalaw?
Your Honor, involves the thank you. I was I was with Senator Mark Villar, Senator Sherwin, Senator JV, and it wasn't really to negotiate, but really to give the side of the Philippine government on the issues. Yes, Your Honor. So not so much as negotiators, but more as to present the side of the Philippines to the European parliamentarians. But that aside, Your Honor, the case you mentioned was brought up to us personally. I think on 2 or 3 occasions, Your Honor, by the Spanish member of the European Parliament, specifically from the Galician region of Spain, Your Honor. This pertains to a tourist who was killed in Siargao, Your Honor, and there was a subsequent conviction of a police officer. According to the Chief PNP, that police officer, there was a manhunt. There is a manhunt rather for this policeman, but they have received surrender feelers, Your Honor. So they're willing to provide you with details, but without prejudicing the case, Your Honor. That is the gist of what has occurred since then, and we have committed, at least on behalf of the Senate, that we would, the members of the Senate there who listened to the request of the Spanish member of Parliament. So kababayan niya po yun, kumbaga kababayan niya sa region ng Galicia ng Spain, na talagang very important issue po sa kanila yon, and nakasalalay po dito yung reputasyon ng ating bansa. So talagang we join you in your concern for this the resolution of this case, kasi our reputation, it's not just our reputation for justice, but ang nakasalalay ho dito pati yung trade privileges natin, as you mentioned earlier, Your Honor.
And then we raised this before the DOJ family din naman eh. So we're raising
That's
it
correct,
now
Your Honor.
before the DILG family. So the mere fact na aware si Chief PNP and maybe even Secretary about this case, that's good news. Pero ang pagkaalam ko, 3 yata ito. 3 PNP officers or members are the accused.
Yes, the information given earlier pertains to the leader of the group, Your Honor. So they feel that that's important because it will also lead to the possible arrest of the other members. Tama po kayo, tatlo po yan.
You can always give us reports confidential or
Yes,
for your eyes only. Tatakan nyo na lang. Marunong na po kami anong gagawin doon.
We will do that, Your Honor.
Alam naman namin yung penalty din if we violate the secrecy of documents marked as secret. But ito kasi I was not there in Brussels, but I think the allegation from the Spanish member of the European Parliament is that one of the police officers involved in the case was even promoted. Yun ang naman. Ngayon, if that's correct, pakitingin. If that's not correct, then we have to, send word back there na hindi totoo.
They will check, Your Honor, and get
Yes.
back to you on that.
Check nyo na lang. Maganda nga kung makuha ko pa yung name ng police officer who was allegedly promoted para ma-check po ni
Yes.
Chief PNP.
Yes, Your Honor. They're
Importante po
committed
ito dahil I think more than 1,000 lines yan eh. Tariff lines ng goods natin will be either zero, gagawin zero pagpasok po sa EU market eh. So,
Yes, Your Honor. It's a sensitive issue.
that's the benefit.
Opo.
And then maganda nun, wala tayong counter obligation to them. It's a concession eh sa
Yes, Your
kanila.
Honor. Yes,
That's why they can make this also anong tawag mo doon?
Yes. Condition or...
Or conditions or ask this hard questions.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sige po. Salamat po. And then my next topic is about the confidential funds because na kasama sa listahan kasi ang DIA, kasi secretary lahat ng agencies na may confidential and intelligence funds binabanggit namin naman as much as possible unless malimutan. But the DILG this year 2022 confi funds 80.6 million, next year 100.6 million. Tapos within your family of course is PNP. This time it's not confidential but it's intelligence funds in the amount of 806 million pesos. So
We confirm the amounts, Your Honor.
yes, so can we ask the DILG to justify the grant of confidential, ibang category to confidential funds, Mr. President. And then why the increase? Nag 20 million increase pa po tayo.
Yes, Your Honor. The fund for under the department, the DILG, will be utilized for the following: to sustain the gains in the anti-illegal drugs campaign and the strengthening of case build-up against illegal drug suspects, information gathering on uniformed personnel directly or indirectly involved in the selling of firefighting equipment and those soliciting favor or monetary consideration in exchange of the services rendered or clearances needed, the monitoring and intensifying efforts on information gathering for local officials allegedly involved in terrorism and other illegal activities, insurgency, supportive of atrocities by the left, surveillance of activities, machinations, and strategies of offenders using cyberspace in victimizing minor children and women, the conduct of Greyhound operations in jail facilities in cooperation with the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, the Philippine National Police, and for information gathering against illegal drugs activities of jail personnel and persons deprived of liberty or PDLs, ensuring evidence-based surveillance reports against syndicates carrying out economic sabotage activities such as price manipulation, illegal importation, trading, smuggling, etc. And also as the chair of the NAPOLCOM, the department assists them in the investigation and surveillance of suspects and attached officials and employees or respondents of cases and charges before the commission. These are some of the uses of the... I'd like to greet our Senate President.